Imagine cooking breakfast for 5,000 people. Now imagine doing it on a ship in the middle of the ocean, while that ship launches fighter jets every 30 seconds. Welcome to the galley of a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier, where 17,000 meals are prepared every single day, where the kitchen never closes, and where running out of food is simply not an option. This is the most impressive restaurant you've never heard of. How do you feed a floating city? How do you keep 5,000 sailors fed, fueled, and ready for combat? Today, we're going behind the scenes of the most intense kitchen operation on the planet. Let's start with the numbers, because the numbers are insane. A Nimitz-class aircraft carrier carries approximately 5,000 personnel: officers, enlisted sailors, pilots, mechanics, medical staff, and yes, cooks. Every single one of them needs to eat 3 times a day, sometimes 4 if you count the midnight rations. That's 15,000 meals minimum, but when you factor in snacks, special dietary needs, and the flight deck crews who burn 6,000 calories a day, you're looking at 17,000 meals every single day. And here's the thing, the ship doesn't dock at a grocery store. Once you're deployed, you might be at sea for months. Everything you need has to be on board, stored, organized, and ready to cook. So how does the food actually get there? Before a carrier deploys, supply officers spend months planning. They calculate exactly how much food will be needed based on deployment length, crew size, and mission type. We're talking about serious inventory here. 50,000 pounds of beef, 60,000 pounds of chicken, 80,000 eggs, 30,000 gallons of milk, hundreds of thousands of cans, frozen vegetables by the ton. All of this gets loaded in a process called replenishment. Trucks line up at the pier, forklifts run non-stop. Sailors form human chains to pass supplies from dock to ship. It takes days, sometimes a full week, just to load enough food for a 6-month deployment. And once it's on board, it has to be stored properly, because spoiled food isn't just wasteful. On a ship with no resupply for weeks, it could be dangerous. Below deck, the carrier has massive refrigerated and frozen storage compartments. We're talking walk-in freezers the size of small warehouses. Temperature is monitored constantly, inventory is tracked digitally. First in, first out. Nothing gets forgotten, nothing gets wasted. There are dry storage areas for canned goods, pasta, rice, and flour. There are separate compartments for fresh produce, even special lockers for items that need specific humidity levels. The organization is military grade, literally, because when you're feeding 5,000 people, you can't afford to run out of anything. Every item has a location code. Every pallet is tracked. Supply specialists conduct daily inventory checks. It's like a grocery store meets a logistics command center. But storage is just the beginning. The real magic happens in the galley. The galley of an aircraft carrier is not your grandmother's kitchen. It's a sprawling industrial cooking operation that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Multiple serving lines, multiple cooking stations, enough equipment to make a professional chef jealous.
Commercial-grade ovens that can roast 200 pounds of meat at once. Steam kettles that hold 100 gallons of soup. Griddles that can cook 300 eggs in a single batch. And the people running all of this? They're called Culinary Specialists. That's their official Navy rating, CS. These aren't just cooks. They're trained professionals who've gone through rigorous military culinary programs. They know food safety inside and out. They can scale a recipe from 4 servings to 4,000 without breaking a sweat. And they work in conditions most restaurant chefs would refuse. Let's talk about these culinary specialists for a minute, because they don't get nearly enough credit. There are typically around 150 food service personnel on a carrier, working in shifts around the clock, no days off. Their day starts at 3 in the morning. While most of the ship is asleep, the breakfast crew is already prepping, cracking thousands of eggs, mixing pancake batter by the gallon, laying out hundreds of pounds of bacon on sheet pans, getting the coffee ready. And on a Navy ship, coffee is sacred. Run out of coffee and you might have a mutiny. By 5:30, the first sailors are lined up, and they keep coming until 8. But here's the catch. The breakfast crew can't rest, because the moment breakfast service ends, lunch prep begins. And while lunch is being served, dinner prep is already underway. It never stops. And here's what most people don't realize. These cooks aren't just making basic cafeteria food. They're actually trying to make it good. Because on a ship where you might be deployed for 7 months, food is morale. Food is comfort. Food is the one thing that can make a tough day a little better. And the Navy knows it. Every carrier has a food service officer. Their job is to plan menus that are nutritious, varied, and actually appetizing. They work weeks in advance, rotating menus so sailors aren't eating the same thing every Tuesday for 6 months straight. Monday might be Mexican night, tacos, burritos, enchiladas. Tuesday could be Italian, pasta, marinara, garlic bread. Wednesday might feature Asian cuisine, stir-fry, fried rice, egg rolls. Thursday is often steak night, a morale booster that sailors actually look forward to. And Friday? On many carriers, Friday is seafood day. Ironic, considering you're surrounded by ocean, but the fish comes from the freezer like everything else. Now, most people think 3 meals a day, but carriers actually serve 4. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, and midrats. Midrats is short for midnight rations. It's a 4th meal served late at night for the sailors who work overnight shifts. Think about it. On a carrier, operations run around the clock. Pilots fly night missions. Engineers monitor systems at 2 a.m. Security patrols never stop. These sailors need to eat too. So between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m., the galley opens again, serving everything from burgers to sandwiches to whatever's left from dinner. It's like a late-night diner in the middle of the ocean at 30 knots. When mealtime hits, things get intense. The main mess deck can seat around 500 people at once, but with 5,000 sailors to feed, you need efficiency, speed, flow. Multiple serving lines run simultaneously. Sailors grab trays, slide down the line, get their food, find a seat, eat, and clear out, usually in under 20 minutes. It's choreographed. There are people directing traffic, making sure lines don't back up, making sure the hot food stays hot and the cold food stays cold. At peak times, the mess deck serves over 1,000 meals per hour. That's almost 17 meals per minute. Constant motion, constant replenishment. The second a pan of mashed potatoes runs low, another one appears. The moment the roast beef is gone, more is sliced. It's a symphony of logistics happening in real time. But wait, with 5,000 people, you can't just make one menu. Some sailors are vegetarian. Some have religious dietary requirements, halal, kosher. Others have allergies, gluten intolerance, lactose issues. The galley has to accommodate all of this. There are always vegetarian options available. Salad bars that never close, alternative proteins like tofu or fish for those who don't eat beef or pork. Medical dietary needs are tracked. If a sailor has a documented allergy, the galley knows. Labels are clear. Cross-contamination is avoided. It's not just about feeding people, it's about feeding everyone, regardless of their background or needs. One of the unsung heroes of the carrier kitchen? The bakers. Fresh bread every day, rolls for dinner, sandwich bread for lunch, and desserts. Lots of desserts. Cookies, cakes, pies, brownies. On a good day, fresh donuts. The bakery section operates on its own schedule, starting even earlier than the breakfast crew. Because bread takes time, dough needs to rise, ovens need to be monitored. And there's nothing quite like fresh baked bread on a ship in the middle of the Pacific. It's a small comfort that makes a big difference. Birthday cakes are a thing too. The bakers track birthdays and try to make personalized cakes when possible. It's a morale thing, reminding sailors that even at sea, they're recognized, celebrated.
Now, before we talk about how they handle emergencies and special situations, hit that subscribe button. We break down fascinating military operations like this every week. The stuff they don't teach in school, the logistics that make everything work. If you're into it, join the crew. Let's continue. Here's a question. What happens when the food runs low? You can't just pull into a port. You're in the middle of a deployment, mission critical, can't stop. The answer is called underway replenishment, UNREP for short. A supply ship pulls alongside the carrier while both ships are moving at speed in the open ocean. Lines are shot across, cables are connected, and then, using a system of pulleys and winches, pallets of supplies are transferred from ship to ship. It's dangerous. It requires incredible coordination, and it happens regularly throughout a deployment. Food, fuel, ammunition, mail, everything comes across those lines. Sailors work for hours, sometimes in rough seas, to make sure the carrier has what it needs. It's one of the most impressive logistical operations in any military, and most people have no idea it even happens. Fun fact, the captain and senior officers don't eat in the main mess. They have their own wardroom, a separate dining area with its own galley. The food is similar, but the service is more formal. White tablecloths, actual plates instead of trays. There's even a designated officer's cook, someone who prepares meals specifically for the command staff. But here's the thing. Good captains know that food matters for everyone. Many make a point to eat in the enlisted mess occasionally, to show solidarity, to check on food quality, to connect with the crew. Because at the end of the day, they're all on the same ship, eating from the same supply. With 17,000 meals a day, food safety is paramount. One outbreak of food poisoning could incapacitate the entire crew. On a warship, that's not just inconvenient, it's a national security risk. So protocols are strict. Temperatures are logged constantly. Hand washing is mandatory and monitored. Surfaces are sanitized between every use. Food is never left out longer than regulations allow. Health inspections happen regularly, not just from Navy officials, but often from outside agencies during port visits. The galley crew takes this seriously, because the consequences of failure aren't just bad reviews, they could compromise a mission. But here's something that might surprise you. Despite all the challenges, carrier food has actually gotten pretty good over the years. Let's be honest, military food used to have a bad reputation. Mystery meat, powdered everything, bland, boring, barely edible. But the Navy has made serious investments in improving food quality. They've upgraded equipment, improved training programs, brought in actual culinary experts to design menus. Today's culinary specialists learn techniques you'd find in professional cooking schools, proper seasoning, presentation, even international cuisines. The goal isn't just to feed sailors, it's to feed them well. Because the Navy figured out something important. Happy sailors perform better, and food is one of the biggest factors in happiness during a deployment. So, yes, you can get a decent steak on an aircraft carrier. You can get fresh salad. You can get pasta that actually tastes good. Is it five-star dining? No, but it's a far cry from the slop of decades past. Holidays on a carrier are a big deal. Thanksgiving gets full treatment. Turkey with all the trimmings, stuffing, mashed potatoes, gravy, pumpkin pie. The galley works overtime to make it feel like home. Decorations go up, music plays, senior officers sometimes serve the enlisted sailors, a tradition of respect and gratitude. Christmas, New Year's, 4th of July, each one gets special attention. It's about maintaining morale during long deployments, reminding the crew that even though they're far from home, they're still part of something bigger, a family of sorts, and the food is central to that feeling. Let's revisit those numbers one more time, because they really are staggering. 17,000 meals a day. That's over 500,000 meals a month, over 3 million meals in a 6-month deployment. 150 food service personnel making it all happen. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no holidays off. Thousands of pounds of food consumed daily, prepared in industrial kitchens that never stop, served in mess halls that run like clockwork. all while the ship is simultaneously launching aircraft, conducting flight operations, and maintaining combat readiness. It's not just impressive, it's almost unbelievable. But behind all the numbers, there are people. Culinary specialists who wake up at 3 a.m. every day for months. Supply officers who spend their careers mastering the art of logistics. Young sailors on their first deployment, peeling potatoes and learning the ropes. Veterans with decades of experience who've cooked through storms, combat zones, and everything in between. They don't get medals for making pancakes. They don't make headlines for brewing coffee. But without them, none of it works. The jets don't fly if the pilots aren't fed. The ship doesn't sail if the engineers are hungry. The mission doesn't succeed if morale collapses. Food is the fuel, and the galley crew is the engine. So, what's the takeaway here? Maybe it's an appreciation for logistics, the invisible systems that make big things possible. Maybe it's a respect for the people who do unglamorous jobs with excellence. The cooks, the supply clerks, the bakers working at midnight. Or maybe it's just amazement at the scale. The fact that somewhere right now, in the middle of an ocean, a floating city is eating dinner. 17,000 meals prepared by a crew that never stops. Aircraft carriers project power, but power requires fuel, and fuel starts in the galley. If this gave you a new appreciation for what happens behind the scenes on a Navy carrier, hit that like button. Subscribe for more deep dives into military operations you've never thought about. And comment below, what's the biggest meal you've ever helped prepare? Could you handle cooking for 5,000? I want to hear your thoughts. Until next time, stay curious, stay hungry, and remember, an army travels on its stomach, so does a navy.